Hello and welcome to another 31 Days of Horror 2016, the first of the Toronto After Dark Film Festival updates. Yes, it is opening night gala time and we are starting things off with a bang. Well, not really. Well, you know, it is a bang. And we are going with the, I don't know, I guess it's a UK film. UK/Iranian film, Under the Shadow. Now, start off by stating that this is the UK's official entry into the foreign language film category. Oddly enough, it is shot in the Middle East, but because the director is, I believe he was born in Iran, but then he is now a UK citizen, and whatever, it falls under the UK, so they can submit it as a foreign language film. Which, you know, obviously they can't do very often because they speak English there. This is a feature film debut from Babak Anvari as the writer-director of the film, which is about a mother and daughter in post-revolution Tehran, so it's 1980s, during the conflict between Iran and Iraq. So there isn't a lot, honestly, when it comes to movies, I don't think there's a lot dealing with that, you know, war in general and that aspect, let alone a Iranian horror film. Or yeah, it's got a lot of things going for it, believe it or not. It is it's in Persian, so it's not in English. It's subtitled. That's the foreign language category, and it involves a combination of the fears of essentially being in a, you know, a city that is under attack, much like you would see with the, you know, London World War II type films, where you're always under the threat of being bombed or such. This involves, I believe, rocket strikes, I believe, from Iraq into Iran. So there's that constant real life struggle of dealing with a post-revolution war-torn Iran. But to top that off, there may be some ghostly, maybe demons, maybe, you know, supernatural entities at work here. So it's a combination of real life horror meets that fictional horror, you know, which is they use based off in the teachings of the Quran and some of the religious beliefs of the area. There are a few people in the film, but essentially it is mostly a mother and a young daughter. The mother played by Narges Rashidi, who you wouldn't know, but has done a lot of work oddly enough in what looks like is German productions. And then newcomer Avin Manshadi as I don't know how old she is. She's really young. It's maybe 10 or so. Maybe even younger, maybe 8. But Yeah, essentially it involves, child seeing things. I truly do liken the film to Babadook. Very much same type of thing. Well, it isn't a single mother. In this case, the father has to go off because he essentially has to do his civic duty of military service, and so he's shipped off. So it's her and her daughter alone trying to deal with this. So now there are some people in the building that they live in that pop in from time to time to help them, but as things get worse and worse and worse, both with the attacks, they also get worse and worse and worse with these so-called hauntings that are going on. And of course, at first it just seems to be the young child, but then the mother starts seeing things and actually starts telling people about these things, and they're obviously it starts going, they think she's crazy, but much like Babadook, it is mother and child dealing with a possible entity, or with the stresses of raising a kid by themselves, essentially. The difference is I think Babadook dealt with the mental stresses a little bit better and portrayed that better, whereas Under the Shadow, I think, dealt more scares and dealt with the hauntings better. So if you if you enjoyed the Babadook because if you thought it was scary, then honestly I think the Under the Shadow will definitely be the next step up from that. But if you thought Babadook was good, but because of the acting, but you really wish it had been scarier, then Under the Shadow, unfortunately, will probably be more in your wheelhouse. It does have some great scares, while still having a similar theme to the underlying story there. Even though it isn't represented quite as well. One of the nice things about the film and the scares is they kind of there may be a scare coming, but it seems to be that the film has a tendency to have you look left and the scare comes from the right, so it uses those standard tropes to try and goad you into giving that tension and suspense. But then when the scare, the jump scare or whatever scare is coming actually hits, it comes from a place you're not necessarily expecting. Sometimes it does, but a lot of the times it doesn't. And that's one of the things I really liked about the film, was I was expecting something and I got something completely different. And so not only did I get the jump scare, but I got a good jump scare, because it wasn't what I was in my head, wasn't what was coming. So that was really, really good. The acting performances are quite well done. It's I don't know them. I don't know these actors, obviously, so I can't say if this is how they are normally or anything like that. But I thought they delivered on their characters very, very well, and I was drawn into the world that they were in, which was nice, because like I said, you don't get too much in terms of even history and education wise regarding that particular part of the world, and this conflict, let alone seeing it in a fictional, seeing it in movies or anything like that. So getting kind of a a mixture of the secular Muslim state meeting the more conservative. After this post-revolution, this is where we're starting to see more and more of the conservative Muslim religion aspects coming into play, and so you get a little bit of that mixture, a little bit of that tension and headbutting going on in the film, as well as just everything about it. It was very, very. It felt, well, it was foreign, but it felt new because it was so foreign, and I liked that about it. There wasn't anything that was really familiar about it because of the location and what was going on. You could overlook the fact that this story, like I said, it's like the Babadook. We've kind of seen some stuff like this before, and again, Babadook wasn't original. There are multiple things of people seeing ghosts and other people thinking they're crazy, and kids seeing things and parents not believing them, etc., etc. That's been going on in horror films for a long time, so that's nothing new. But giving us a Middle Eastern look at, giving us a look at Middle East and a period of time, combining that with a horror element that is delivered well and manages to give you some scares. I was utterly impressed by Under the Shadow. I do definitely recommend it. Now here's the thing. If you aren't adept at reading subtitles, you may not get all the scares and such going on in the film, but I don't think it's something that's going to terribly hinder your enjoyment of this film. Now, if you don't like foreign films because of the subtitles and you don't want to read and all that kind of stuff, honestly, there's nothing that's going to change your mind in this film. I do think you should watch more foreign films and get over that, because there are a plethora of foreign films, horror films, that are just amazing and you're missing out otherwise. And Under the Shadow, well, I wouldn't say it is an amazing one. It's definitely one to watch. So yeah, I would highly recommend you check it out if you're into foreign film, if you're into foreign horror, if you're at all intrigued by the idea of getting a Middle Eastern horror film, and if you're like me and you like a historical, the historical aspects of it, then yeah, Under the Shadow is very, very, very cool. It's, I'm trying to think. It's yeah, it's only about, it's under an hour and a half, so it's pretty quick. It's film was shot in Jordan. That was it. Film was shot in Jordan. So that's essentially all there is to Under the Shadow. I can't really go into too much. I don't want to give too much away in regards to the story and what is going on, because you really do want to see the film to get all that, and give away too much, give away too many spoilers, and you may not enjoy it. You may not be scared, but at the right moments, because they're coming, right? So I don't want to give too much away. I will just say track down Under the Shadow. It's definitely worth giving a look, and I will probably, I add everything to my collection, so I look forward to seeing what happens with it, and I'd like to see some of the behind the scenes, see what if there is any behind the scenes, or just some commentary, and hear about the ideas and such used on it. So I am looking forward to picking this up at some point. But yeah, let me know if you've seen Under the Shadow. Comment down below. No spoilers, again, no spoilers, but let me know if you felt the same way as I did, or maybe you didn't like it. Maybe you didn't find it scary, which, wow. It happens, but Under the Shadow, I think works. I think it works in that regard. So, 2 thumbs up from me, and hopefully you are able to check it out. So there you go. Thanks for watching. Till next video, take care. Have a good one.